Hi, good morning, everybody. I woke up this morning with a kind of some thoughts and ideas about, I suppose, how we respond to adversity and how we deal with what life throws at us. What life throws at us, problems with money or relationships or people we work with or noisy next door neighbours or whatever else that is. That's the stuff that happens external to us. It will affect us, for sure, but it happens external to us. The way we interpret it inside makes up 90% of what's really going on. Not saying that noisy neighbours or an annoying colleague aren't a problem, but the biggest threat to all of us as addicts is how we interpret it. And how we interpret it normally fits into the story we tell. So let's say that we have some bad luck and something to do with money or a job or someone being mean or deceptive or whatever. The story we then tell is, this always happens to me. Without fail, this always happens to me. I'm cursed, I'm unlucky, and it's worse than that actually. I'm the sort of person that either makes this happen or deserves this, and blah 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 blah. And with every thought, we move one step further up the kind of like the drama scale, until something which was somebody being a bit rude to us at work or being not being paid as much as we thought we'd be paid, which is a relatively minor thing, becomes part of the great grand narrative of life, and boom, we're at an 11. And when we're at 11, we're going to relapse. It's highly likely because we focus on life being hopeless and despairing and terrible and blah blah blah, and we're completely divorced from the actual situation at this point, because what's taken over is the grand narrative, the big story of our lives that we've told ourselves. All we've done is selected some evidence from the event and kind of reshape that to fit into the big drama. Now, that big drama is addictive. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody's been in a fit of emotion? Oh, woe is me, and they've been at an 11. You try to bring them down to where the situation really is, a 3 or a 4. And it feels uncomfortable for them. They don't like that. Because that drama is kind of serving a purpose. That drama is bringing them back to what the addiction's really working towards all the time. It's bringing them back to that relapse. And when you can start to put things back in their proper perspective, that, yeah, sure, this wasn't nice, but ultimately it doesn't need to be anything more than a 3 or a 4. It's an annoyance that can be dealt with calmly. That is nowhere near, in addict terms, as exciting as the throw it all out of the pram, crash the car, 11 on the drama scale experience. Why do addicts feel driven to do that? Why not have a small trivial problem that can be fixed easily? Because we revert to our childlike states. There is, in transactional analysis, 3 states, apparently. It's probably more. Parent, adult, child. The parent state is the critical voice, the why did you let that terrible, stupid thing happen, I told you, blah, 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 blah. Parent is our self-criticism. The child is the whiny, whingy brat within. It's useless, I can't do this, it's hopeless. And what the child is really hoping for is for someone to come along and fix the mess. Someone to pay off your bills, someone to deal with the annoying person at work, someone to do the thing that you don't really want to do. And if you've ever dealt with a sulky child, I'm in the middle of that at the moment, you'll know. And then what we're looking for is to get to the adult voice within. The adult voice is the one that's going to sort things. The adult's the grown-up. The adult thinks, well, this isn't good, but how do we fix it? How do we sort it? So the addiction wants to go, wants to criticise us as parents, and have that criticising voice, and then reduce us to children, back to being the child voice. And so we've got to resist that. So with our problems, what do? We have that money problem, we have that friend problem, we have that working with others problem, we have that person in recovery problem. We reach out. We get our allies on side. We reach out to the people who are going to be nurturing and kind to us and productive to us, who are going to hold us to account and not let us behave in codependent ways and not sort of be rescuers. We don't want those guys. We want our healthy people that we can share our problems with, and then we get into action and we deal. And so there's a fundamental difference between drama and action. Sometimes we all have to feel a bit sorry for ourselves. Sometimes we all have to feel a bit defeated and a bit sad. But that's normally the indication that the way I've been living my life, in a particular way, don't work for me. That's the only value that has. Everything else is about getting into action and dealing in whatever way we can. And when we start to deal, then we start to realise that our problems aren't intractable, that we do have power, that hopelessness isn't an option, and that the story we've told ourselves about the big grand narrative of failure, that ain't real and never was.